everybody, and welcome to GameSpot's first ever show from the Comic-Con show floor. I'm here, we had to start out with a bang, right? So I'm here with Seth Killian, Special Advisor at Capcom on Marvel vs. Capcom 3. A pretty good fit for a Comic-Con, especially because you guys just announced some stuff.
We did. We have 4 brand new characters that are not just being announced, but they're actually playable here on the show floor.
We appreciate this, sir. For the folks that haven't seen who you announced, although the internet's blowing up over it, who'd you announce?
Well, on the Capcom side, we have Trish from the Devil May Cry series, Chun-Li, of course, the first lady of fighting games, and then on the Marvel side, we have Dr. Doom, now complete with his hover chair, at least his pre-match intro, and my very favorite, the Super Skrull. Combines all 4 powers of the Fantastic Four into one Super Skrull.
Nice. And on top of these new characters, we're also able to check out some new stages. So
Indeed.
There is one here right now. What is happening?
Well, in one we've got what we're looking at now is, of course, the SHIELD helicarrier. It seems to be parked outside of New York City, and there's a big battle going on, which has some relation to some other things that are happening within the game and some more things that we'll show as we go on. But there's a huge battle going on in the background, planes flying. The helicarrier will take off over the course of the match, so that's a lot of fun.
All right, so we're seeing the Super Skrull kind of hard at work. So do you want to talk to us about how he's blending all the powers? Because obviously he'd be the most overpowered character in the game if he had everything.
No, he's just awesome. So, I mean, of course, he's got stretchy moves, sort of like Dhalsim-like limbs, like Mr. Fantastic. One of my favorites is a special grab he's got, which has actually big sort of Zangief-like range, where he can reach out and grab you. It's unblockable. And he grabs you like Mr. Fantastic would and sort of uses the rubbery arms to slam you around. So that's sort of combining like the Thing and Mr. Fantastic together. So he's got he's got the stone hands as well as the stretchy hands, and also Human Torch, a lot of effects there, including one of my favorites. He's got a super where he basically just explodes like the Human Torch. You see his outline and it just engulfs the entire screen in flames.
The Nova Flame.
Nova Flame, that's exactly what it's called, actually. I don't want to nerd out, but I guess we're at Comic-Con, so let's just go straight for it.
Totally fine.
The Nova Flame, yes.
Now, we got Chun-Li versus Trish here.
Indeed.
Chun-Li, had a chance to pop over and play. She's got her Kikosho, she's got her charge.
Yes.
Anything else?
Chun-Li is different in the details. So traditionally, I mean, she's going to feel like Chun-Li that you've played before in Versus games, but it's going to be all down to the details. So people that have played her before will find lots of new tricks. She's got lots of very tricky dashes in the air, a dash that sort of arcs down. So she's really a high-pressure, in-your-face character, and also has some very useful assists. There we see the Super Skrull using his ground pound as well as his Fists of Fury. But yeah, Chun-Li's pretty traditional. Trish, on the other hand, has never been in a fighting game before. So you see a lot of her sort of mystical abilities from the Devil May Cry games showing up. And she plays actually in sort of a keep-away style. So she has a lot of projectiles and basically traps. You'll see like a sort of a rune will appear on the screen, and then it disappears. But anybody that jumps into that space, if you can trick your opponent into jumping into that space, they'll get hit by it and frozen for a second. She can follow up with a combo. She's got lots of tricky moves that work best at a distance. She's not as powerful up front, but to keep people at range and play a lot of tricky mind games, she's awesome. She's my favorite right now, actually.
Well, I totally appreciate that, but my current favorite right now is on the screen, Deadpool.
Deadpool, yes.
So I'm going to ask our friends that are demoing if they can try and do the new Deadpool Super at some point during their demo. That would be great.
We'll see if they can pull it off.
So basically, for folks that don't know, in addition to the new characters you guys have, there are some new supers here as well, right?
It is. We've tried to up the ante in the super department as well. So every character has at least 2 level 1 supers. Some of them have significantly more. But they've also got level 3 supers, which are just sort of the true over-the-top kind of, cost 3 bars, but it really does something amazing. So Iron Man will drag you along the ground and actually, like in his wake, like the Rock, he's so powerful, then he drags you up into the air and hits you what's called the true unibeam, where he just sort of unloads his full power of, his
armor.
Yes.
Energy.
Yes, cool. It's all. I'm getting a little excited. But of course, the one you're talking about, Deadpool, is everybody's favorite. It's one of my favorite things ever in fighting game history.
New area here too.
Indeed, yeah. This is sort of like What it is not totally clear, but it looks like possibly an umbrella lab. It's got
There's a liquor in there.
Yes, we've got the liquors in a cage, and actually as the match progresses, the cages, if you do slams that are near the ground, the cages will actually begin to shatter.
I did just see that.
Yeah.
Does anything get out?
They do come out, and actually they're also you'll also see some power-ups, some herbs will appear on the ground.
Nice.
In certain places, there's also a tyrant who looks like he's being brewed up there in the back in a tank as well. So a lot of fun stuff on the stages, which are of course still in progress. But again, showing favorites from the Marvel universe with the Shield helicarrier, as the Capcom universe as well with it looks like it's some sort of nasty umbrella lab.
Oh, look at that. Well, there you go. Now, we've seen him a little bit right now. We haven't talked about him much. So Doom, at least right now, from what I've played so far, feels a lot like a lot of the returning characters. He feels very familiar.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us a little bit about what's new and sexy about him and
Sure.
MVC3?
So again, with the approach for MVC3, we were trying to sort of touch on MVC2. So you're going to see basically the similar kinds of moves. So anybody that played Doom and MVC2 is going to feel right at home with Doom and MVC3. But he does have a bunch of new stuff. For instance, he can launch missiles from his belt up at the sky that sort of come down and track. Dante also, who we've seen before, has, I think, probably 18 new special moves in this build. So I was trying to count them all the other day, and I think he has actually more specials than certainly any character in Capcom fighting history. I don't want to say ever. There's probably a Mugen game out there somewhere but somebody has more moves than Dante in this game. But yeah, they're really trying to up the ante on the special moves. So Doom already had a lot of great specials in MVC2. He's got all of those back in here, including his molecular shield, where he brings up the sort of whirlwind of rocks, which is an awesome move on its own, but it's also great assist. You can really do a lot of chip damage and very annoy your opponent with that.
And there's Deadpool. Going to put that request out again, level 3.
I think they're going to build up some supers. Hopefully it'll come together pretty fast. We'll see if they don't kill Deadpool off here.
Now, obviously you can stack your supers as before.
Yes.
And he's got his little molecular shield and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
Now, Trish, do we see any bonus, like when Trish and Dante are on the same team? Is there any of that?
That's something
stuff?
we've talked about. So it's something we're still making a decision about, but it's one of the interesting things we've talked about. But the question was, how far do we go? And then given the incredibly huge mathematical number of teams, oh, here we go. So this is the level 3 super from Deadpool.
This is awesome, by the way, if you're watching this at home.
He strikes sort of this cheesecake pose, where he sort of poses for the camera for a second, but it's a counter super, so if you hit him during that pose, he will actually jump up, grab your life bar, pull the life bar off the screen, hit you with it, grab the super bar, and knock you out of the park, and then watch as you crash to the ground.
Which is very Deadpool.
It is. Of course, Deadpool breaks the fourth wall, talks directly to the audience, and I mean, what better fourth wall to break than sort of for the characters on screen to acknowledge that there are these life bars floating above them. It's never been done. I thought it was a brilliant idea. It wasn't mine, unfortunately, but nicely executed, and it makes me laugh every single time I see it.
So we're here at the character select screen, which is getting fuller, as you can see.
Filling out slowly, yes.
Now, there was some news that broke today, or leaked today on the internet maybe, that was kind of about 2 more characters, I believe Thor and Amaterasu. Is there anything you'd like to tell anybody about that?
Well, we at Capcom would like to officially oppose the internet and all that it stands for. So
we're the future, sorry,
we're done. Don't trust anything you hear on the internet. No, we will have more news on these fronts at our panels here at Comic-Con. We have some exciting stuff to show off for the fans. So more news coming at the panels. And
we will be covering those panels on GameSpot, so be sure and check. Okay, so now we're back in New York. We have Doom and the Super Skrull. Indeed, we have the New York stage. So there's a lot of photographers. You'll see the Daily Bugle in the background, Spider-Man float. I think the Beautiful Joe float is still in here as well. So there's some Capcom, there's a Servbot float as well. So some Capcom love as well as Marvel love united here. One other thing that we haven't talked about yet that's new to this build is there are some unique character moves that aren't exactly super moves, but they're sort of a unique character ability for every character. They're not all in here yet, but like Wolverine is able to speed up, go into sort of a speed mode, which sort of fits his style. Felicia has an interesting move where she actually sort of dodges out of the screen, so she can dodge whatever's happening on screen. So she goes into sort of a third dimension, dodges whatever's happening on the screen, and then comes back. Chris Redfield can sort of hit the deck, get very low to the ground, that'll dodge under fireballs and fire off
a single shot, but they're all sort of unique character-specific abilities that fit the character. And then the other new thing that's a general game system change is what we call the X Factor. Basically, if you hit all 4 attack buttons at any time, you'll glow red, and it goes down to a timer, so that'll give you a speed boost, a damage boost, but more interestingly, it'll also cancel immediately whatever you were doing. So if you were even in the middle of like, you know, Iron Man Super or something like that, the proton cannon, which is, you can't really combo after it because it's got a lot of recovery, you can cancel it immediately and do whatever else you want. So you can do another proton cannon, you can jump in and follow them up with a combo. So it creates like, I mean, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 already had one of the most free combo systems, very flexible combo system. This creates limitless possibilities because at any time, if you're in a move that has a lot of recovery, you can cancel it and do something else crazy.
Now, what does that cost you?
You basically get to do it once with each character. So it's free, it doesn't even take any meter, but it's a one-time use ability, and it's basically on a timer as well. So you'll see your life bar flash red, your character will flash red, and then that will slowly count down. Well, it's not that slow, because it's a pretty powerful ability. But that'll count down, and that's a real game changer as far as you know, creating a lot of new opportunities and tactics in an already rich environment.
Now, I do have to ask, since we touched on the roster thing, what's the fan reaction been? And I know you guys obviously are in development, you've picked a lot of the roster already.
Yeah.
Are what the people out there saying right now affecting the decisions that you guys are making at all in terms of, is there a chance that somebody could fling in somebody weird?
I don't want to say no. I mean, nothing's impossible and the game is still pretty a long way from done, but we do think we know who we want. So at this point, we have people that are just saying they're being hopeful, but for most of the character choices, the die is already cast. So working with Marvel, you know, Marvel has a lot of ideas about who they want to see represented in the game. So that was pretty much their end of it, both in terms of, you know, they have their own Marvel agenda for taking over the world, which is awesome. So they have some choices about their characters. We had a few favorites in here as well. So we were definitely listening to fan feedback at the beginning. At this point, I think it's the ship might have sailed. We're getting close to everybody we want. I don't want to say it couldn't happen, because it could. There are still new slots, but...
So the odds are any internet petitions about Brother Voodoo, maybe, maybe not.
I'm confident telling you here, Brother Voodoo is not going to be making an appearance in Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Next time, sequel. Gotta save it for
There we go.
All right, well, thanks very much for bringing this by. We're gonna